you have about 2 weeks to live. We need to start you tomorrow. I started getting sick. I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I just kept making videos and I kept making music because if I can do this during chemo, like, trust me, you know, we all can.
You've put out 200 songs, but your song Forgiven got over 1 million streams. I think I just checked that. I think you were over like 1.2 or 3 or something million streams.
I found out a full system, and I'll just tell you the full system step by step, and you can stop me at any time if you have questions about it. So the first thing I do is...
you said you put $150 is like your starting budget. Why 150?
Yeah, because at 150, you can usually find...
Welcome to the Musician Secrets podcast. Today, I have a special guest for you here. He is, well, you actually promoted over 200 songs. One of them got like over 1 million streams, which is nuts. And we're going to talk about it in just a minute. But what is even more crazy is your story that we're going to dive in. So Jordan Baywood, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for it.
I resonated with your story. I mean, who doesn't? That's just a crazy, insane, very inspirational story. That's how I found you on YouTube. So can you just explain your background story, how you got into music, what inspired you to get into music, and then your journey so far to where you are now?
Yeah, so I just turned 29 December 3rd.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy late birthday.
But like I was playing guitar since the age of 7, and I was in bands and stuff, and I never really could get too involved into the bands because nobody wanted to practice every day. I really didn't understand the whole weekly practice for an hour. So I had resentment with the whole idea because but that was the only way to make it in music, like in my head. And then I just kind of lived life and kind of like swayed against it as I went into high school. And then when I graduated high school, I went to my first music festival. My friend was like, "Hey, we got to go to this Electric Forest EDM festival." I was like, "What? I don't know about that." And I went, and I was like, "Wow, nobody's judging each other. Everybody's free. Everybody's being themselves." And then I saw like the ones that stand out are Flume, Odessa, and Skrillex. And when I saw them, I was like, "Wait, they're performing the music that they made on their computer." And then that Monday after the festival, I downloaded Ableton and Logic Pro, and I've never stopped making music since. And then a few years after that, I just realized that, okay, if I want to make it in this industry, like it's not going to be with my music first. Like I have to figure out how to fund it because I don't want to work a job I don't like. So I just started YouTube. Thanks to my mentor, Alex Rome, who like showed me he was making $10,000 a month from his music production course. I was like, what? So I just started making tutorials on the thing that I was interested in, which was vocal mixing at the time. And then I launched my first product because I moved from my hometown, Ohio, to Florida. And all my friends back home were like, "Hey, like we need you to mix our songs and like teach us how to record." So I just started making videos and then saving their chains that I was using before because I was like, there's no way I can just keep mixing their songs because I'm not going to charge them, but I also don't want to I moved to Florida to focus on my own career, to get away from all my friends and like, that social pressure.
Hey, Ohana. I have a quick question for you. Based on you listening to this episode right now, do you feel like you have the talent, you have the radio-ready music, and you've got what it takes to go full-time, but somehow you're not seeing the results you're hoping for? You're not seeing the impact, you're not seeing the fans, you're not seeing the money or the freedom that can make this happen, and you feel like you should be further along by now, right? If this is how you're feeling right now, then I want to invite you to the Fans to Freedom Framework Challenge. This is a 4-day tiny challenge, which means it's going to be a one-on-one challenge that I'm going to do with you, where I'm going to show you what it takes to get started in the new music business. Now, talent in music, I hate to break it to you, but that is the mere starting point to make it in the new music industry. I learned the hard way that it takes 3 things. 1 is time mastery. Then we're gonna go to music business skills. And then the third thing that we need is systems and good habits. Once we have these 3 things, you can see that's where we then create quality of life and the freedom that we're actually looking for. So if this sounds interesting, again, I would love to invite you to the Fans to Freedom Challenge. It's a tiny one-on-one challenge that I'm going to do with you live, and I'm going to walk you through the process of how I did this. That sounds great. There's a QR code right here that you can scan with your phone if you're watching on the TV. Or if you're watching on your phone, there's a link in the description down below that you can click on, and it will take you straight to the application form to this tiny challenge. Okay, well, that's it. Back to the episode.
And then when I released it, the vocal sauce, and started making videos on it, like how to sound instantly pro using stock plugins, how to record from home. That's when that pandemic hit. And then I started getting sick. I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I just kept making videos and I kept making music. And at that time, they were like, you know, when they told me I had cancer, like the first hospital I went to was like, hey, we need $50,000 to start you on chemotherapy. I was like, I have to pay money to get help with this? And so that was at a general hospital in St. Petersburg, Florida. And then so my mom like suggested that I get, a second opinion. And so I went to Moffitt, which is like top 10 cancer centers in the United States. And they were like, we need to start you on chemo yesterday. You have about 2 weeks to live. We need to start you tomorrow. And we're gonna solve Medicaid. We'll get you all that. You don't have to worry. You're not gonna pay a dime. I was like, okay. That gave me hope, like right away.
That
I
is
was like,
crazy.
okay, yeah. And that led me into realizing, like, when they tell you have 2 weeks to live, and you have this like, crazy disease, life starts making a little more sense. Like you start thinking about your legacy and realize that's the only thing that matters. And so I realized my only way to create a legacy was through music, because it's like just something, it was like God or something talking to me. I believe it was God, because like I started getting multiple, like these huge intuition bursts of like what matters in life. What matters is having a family. That's your legacy. And then the things that you do that affect people in a positive way. That's what I wanted to do. And so I just really honed in on my music, and I was like, okay, well, I'm making money from my vocal sauce presets. Okay, so I don't have to go to a job. I don't have to take off a job while I go through chemo. How much of a blessing was that? Like, it was only 3 months before that I launched my first product, and the first month it made $5K, and then it made $10K. And so I was like, if I just keep up this normal like regimen of YouTube videos, like I'll keep making money during the worst time of my life. Because, even though I was going through chemo, I could still make a YouTube video.
Wow.
And so then I brought on some friends and stuff to help me with like video editing, with emails, and products and stuff like that, because I wanted to keep expanding. I wasn't gonna let that stop me. And then I released this song called Let's Make a Movie, and it took a few months, but it started taking off. And I was like, holy shit. Like when you release a song, but you give it, like my whole message behind that is like, yeah, I have cancer, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from making my life movie. And I realized when you have a story behind a song, you can actually change lives and inspire people. And that just started doing really well, and that gave me the confidence to like, wow, I could really do this full time and really make it. And anybody could, because if I can do this during chemo, like, trust me, we all can.
Zero excuses, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm in remission after 5 years. So yeah, it takes 5 years to get out of remission. My bad. I'm finally out of remission. And so the one thing that really helped me during chemo that the doctors would never tell me, the only reason I was able to make YouTube videos and make music and live a normal life during chemo was that I did medical marijuana. And so the reason why it helped me is when you go through chemo, they give you 7 pills. They're like, hey, this one will help you go to the bathroom. This will help you eat. This will help you sleep, to help the effects of chemo, because it like makes you not do all those things. So like, okay, do all these pills. Well, when the first 2 weeks I did all those pills, and I was like, okay, I'm having trouble with everything they said these pills are supposed to help. Like, it felt awful. I could not, at that time, I literally, for those first 2 weeks, I couldn't make a video. I couldn't make music. I was just sleeping, and, thinking about eating was a whole job. And so I decided I have to do another way. So I did medical marijuana. Like, I really talked to them and said, what helps with this kind of diagnosis with blood cancer? And they were like, okay, this one. So I tried them, and then I did 1 gallon of water a day with that, stopped all the pills, and then what felt completely normal. And so when I went through chemo, they kept saying like, how are you doing so well? I was like, medical marijuana, and I'm not doing any of your pills. They're like, well, we can't condone that. And then I realized what it is. Like, they're but that's what I suggest to anybody, because it really does. It's a lifesaver, truly.
Well, in this case, yeah, that is
Yep.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so like, it took after a year, I went through 6 months of chemo, and then for the first year after, I was still recovering, and then after about a year of getting done with chemo, I felt pretty normal. I got a place in Tampa, but that's actually where my problems started to come up. I started getting into alcohol heavy, gambling heavy, because what's weird is that you think life gets better after it, but it actually, for me, it got way more lonely, because people stopped starting to hit me up. Like, they didn't check up on me, and that's fine by them. Like, we're all, but that's where I felt like really lonely, and I found like, playing poker, like, I'm around people all the time. But then, I just started spiraling into alcohol addiction really bad, into where I was waking up with bruises all over me, thinking I had cancer again, and then avoiding that. So I would drink again to avoid that realization. And, so then going through a year of that battle, gambling addiction, alcohol addiction, in January 1st, 2024, I was like, I'm getting sober. And once I've been now sober for 2 years from alcohol. I've been sober from poker for 2 years as well.
Congrats.
And
that's a
thank
big deal.
And now I believe I'm making the best music ever. Like, I really feel the clarity that I have with, making music gets me, feeling drunk. Whatever that feeling you want, like, that's the best feeling to me when I'm, just start making music, whether it's with someone or by myself. And now, and last year I moved to Vegas because I felt like it'd be a good story. Like, hey, I'm getting sober, so I want to go to the hardest place ever. And it's actually really easy to be sober and not gamble at all in Vegas. It's a beautiful town. There's a lot, because there's a lot of like underground stuff. There's there's just so much more to do than what they market, you know,
Okay.
like
Interesting.
and I just realized like I just love making music and chilling. Like I'm more of an introvert. Um, and when I moved to Vegas last October or last Halloween, I went in the DJ circuit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start performing. I'm sober. I've been making music for a long time. Now it's time to start performing. Um, and so I came out here, started doing that every single weekend, and then I just realized like that life is not for me.
Hmm.
Like I love performing, but I don't like the club
Mm.
scene, because the club scene is a lot of people that aren't really true like about the rave culture. It's just about, getting drunk, about partying, about getting
Yeah.
girls, about getting guys, whatever it is. It's like I don't resonate with that. But like DJing, I absolutely love just as much as I do making a song, because I feel like it comes natural, because I just read the crowd. I can feel everybody's energy, and in a lot of cases when you're dealing with that club, like that, it's just all ego.
Mm. Mm.
And so
Oh, yeah.
I've DJed a few places like Area
It's a good one.
15,
Mm.
um, Bauhaus, which that's real rave. And I'm like, wow, this is the type of shows I want to do.
Mm.
So I'm going to do less of the club type and bar type,
Mm.
and really focus in on like, you know what, the real goal is to do shows and do my own tour
Yeah.
and do it all independently. So that's what I want to do. Cause you know what? Like having a family is great. Being at home is great. Having a consistent schedule is great. But the younger me, you just see John Summit and you're like, I want that. But it's really just because you're seeing many thousands of people smiling at them, and you just crave love.
Mhm.
And so now getting sober, I realize like, okay, I have more self love, and all I need is the love for myself, and everything else happens. So, and now, in January 1st of this year, I went really hard on like, okay, I'm gonna really do this independently, and so I really got deep into marketing music about the midway last year. So everything up until this January 1st was an experiment, and then I finally figured it out. And then my song I released January like 11th of this year,
Mm.
2025, I saw that it was starting to blow up because of my ads. I found a winning ad, and then I could see that in Spotify radio, like it was getting streams and they were pushing it. So I put more money into it, put about $1,000 total. And within 6 months, it had like 400,000 streams. So, and then December, when I got the Spotify Wrap this year, it had 1 million streams just on Spotify and 400,000 streams elsewhere. Um, so now I'm just doing that, implementing that method in ads, like right now. And so I'm helping a lot of artists and producers do the same. And so I have a side business where I coach people to grow their music and build up their music career. And then I also help people like expand their coaching and music business. So that's like two different things, obviously, but that's what I love doing on the side. And then my main business is still preset and sample packs that just, make money while I sleep, which is great. Um, and yeah, so that's the story right now.
That's that's wild. Like, congrats. Like, first of all, you've definitely lived longer than 2 weeks. That
Yeah.
is, crazy in itself. Um, yeah, my father-in-law, he had like also like a couple of months to live, and he lived another 9 years.
Mm,
So, you know,
yep. Yeah, exactly.
um, yeah, so he got I got to meet him. I've been married for 6 years now, and so I got to see his
Congrats.
first grandchild before he, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy
So
that
yeah,
happened.
so that story just has like a very special place in my heart, period.
Yeah.
So and then also, 2 years sober, like that is also like a big accomplishment. So, you know, congrats and thank you for hanging in there. You know,
Yeah,
that's
definitely. Thank you.
that's not a easy thing, to deal with and to overcome and then inspire others as well. I was like writing down some things as you were like telling your story, and what I thought was interesting, it says like only legacy matters. Like when you're like confronted in that situation, like what would you say, like you said like music helped you deal, with cancer. Like, what were like some realizations that you had as well where you're like, okay, gotta double down, or this doesn't matter, or like, what was like, what would you say was like important besides
Yeah.
like legacy?
Yeah. I would just say that, like, I believe victimhood is cancer to the mind, and I believe it does spread. So I could have, like, I had two lanes to go. I just thought, like, I could go poor me route. The
Mm,
world is out to get me. God is out to get me, like all this. Or I can be like, okay, I have this. So what are you going to do? What can you do about that today? And are you going to let that stop you from making your life movie? Because if you get out of this alive, you don't want to just have wasted all those years feeling sorry for yourself. So, like, for me, making music was the only thing that took my mind off everything and, like, just made me live in complete the now, where I'm not thinking about my problems. I'm not thinking about this. I'm just creating. And
mm,
so, like, to me, it felt worthwhile because, like, I could treat it like my baby, where I'm creating these little babies and developing them and then putting them off into the world. And if they do good, great. If they don't, great. I don't really care. But at least in 100 years, my, you know, great great grandchildren could listen to it, or people that is related to me or anybody, and my story would be out there. And that's when I realized, like, you don't just release songs. Like, sometimes it's great to have intentional songs where, like, I, I make very feel good music, and you would think during that time I would make dark music, but no, like, I've always turned the dark into light.
mm.
And I believe that's the thing I like doing, is like turning problems into finding solutions and turning the dark into light. I've always just been optimistic in
Mm.
that sense, and I think my music speaks for it. But music's the only thing that helped me, like, get through it, because it's like time would just, I would just live now. I wouldn't. It didn't feel like I had cancer because I was just making music.
Wow. Yeah, that's super powerful. Like, yeah, I see that all the time where you can decide to play the victim and be poor me, or you can use it and as fuel and do something about it. I
Mhm.
100% agree. Um, you kind of teased that you had, or I teased it in the beginning of the intro as well, but teased that you have a song. First of all, you put out over 200 songs. That is crazy. Like, people, think about the number, like 200 songs. That's like 2 songs a month for 2 years, right? That's 200.
A lot more actually than that.
'Cause if you have two songs, that's 24. So yeah, so then you have
Times 10 years.
times 10 years.
Basically like 8 years, but the reason I say that number is it's not just releases under my Baywood brand. It was the ones that
In
I
total.
included, yeah, that I helped other people release,
Yeah.
that I worked on. Um but yeah, it's like most of those ones, like, I've taken down, and people, like, come to me all the time and says, "Hey, I should release a song a week." Because of the Rust method, which
Yeah.
it's like in the beginning, you probably should release a lot because guess the thing that you're going to hate the most is releasing and marketing. It's going to cause the most resistance to your music career because this is not natural to any of us humans. It's not natural to be on video camera. You just get used to it, right?
Yeah.
So, and it becomes habitual.
Yeah.
So, like, there's nothing easy about releasing and marketing because there's so much trauma, there's so much insecurities, there's so much that are, it's outside of why we make music that you have to really figure out. So, like, I just have figured out, like, that you have to find the bottlenecks and you have to find the insecurities. And it's usually just imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the thing that's ruining most of our careers before they even get started. And they ruin a lot of careers because we're like, what will people think? And when you feel really good about something and it gets 10 views, 100 views, you now feel like that is is not good content or a good song.
Yeah.
And you were just excited about it. Now you don't care about the song. And so then you have less inspiration to release your next song. And so that's why I believe actually 99% of artists stop releasing music or never release a song in the first place. And that's why I take out social media and I do ads because I just make a simple 15-second video. I could just stand there and do this to my song. I don't have to do anything, put the lyrics on screen and then run it on ads and see if it's going to be successful or not. And so, because I hate social media and I believe like it's really detrimental unless you get a good system for it. But,
Yeah, you either hate it or love it.
Yeah. I love it at times and I hate it most of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Social media is like a touchy subject, I feel like, with every creator. It's like either you find a system that makes it work or you usually, not a fan or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not a fan. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, so I just wanted to show like 200 songs, like that's a lot of volume. Like I think, some artists, they put out 2, 3, 4, 5 songs, maybe 10 songs, and then they stop, right? Because of reasons you just mentioned. And I think if, you've put out 200 songs, so you kind of, first of all, know what you're talking about, but you've put out the volume to kind of test and find data, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But your song Forgiven got over 1 million streams. I think I just checked it. I think you were over like 1.2 or 3 or something million streams.
Yeah, total it has like 1.4. On Spotify, it passed the 1 million mark.
Yeah. Like, congrats. That's super
Thank
cool.
you.
Like for an indie artist, that doesn't, use social media, that doesn't like, you're not Justin Bieber, right? Or
Right.
something like that, right? So it is possible. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, you don't have to be this huge artist to get 1 million streams if you want it, right? So you have a video or a system that you put out on YouTube on your channel that, if you're okay, we'll just kind of go through them because I had a few questions about them, about the system too. And yeah, we'll just kind of go. There were like 15 steps. So the first one was you don't choose the hit, the audience does.
Yep. So it's mainly like if you like people don't realize when you're creating a system, like the only reason we're creating a system is to be able to do this independently, because I promise you all these big labels, they have systems for everything and everything's systemized in a business and on your the only reason why our computers are working is because there's systems allowing it to. So like I just always believe that okay, for most of our things outside of what we love to do, we have to create a system. I will never create a system for producing because that's my passion.
Mm.
And so I will just let my creative run free on that. However, when I'm talking about like finishing and releasing tracks, like that's the thing I don't really care about. It's like if I could choose one, I would choose making music every day, all day for
Yeah.
the rest of my life, right? But and so in order to like get there, okay, songs need to get finished and sound really good. So I do have a mixing system. And a release system and a marketing system. And so what I realize is that the songs that I get most excited about dropping and put money in towards, they don't necessarily perform the best on ads and they don't get the best streams. However, Forgiven was one I wasn't even going to drop at all because it was so different. It's very unique. I've never heard a song like it. And so the imposter syndrome in me was like, tell me it's not good enough. Even one of my production coaches at the time, I always believe should always have coaches for most things, but and the best coaches have coaches, but um he told me he was like, I think you should just have the one female vocal throughout the whole thing. I don't know why you need to have a male and a female vocal. um and little stuff like that made me question it and be like, okay, yeah, it's really not that good. But there was one of my friends are like, dude, like, please release that song, like that one. I was like, okay, I will. Because if it was up to me, if I just chose every song I was going to release, like, I would never do that. And that's why it's good to have real friends that it doesn't matter if they make music or not, preferably not make music. That's who you're going to get
That's
the best
just what
feedback
was
from.
about to say. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just realized that, okay, if we take this pressure off choosing the songs that are going to do well, then the system can be way easier. I can have, oh, if this song doesn't perform well, it's okay because it could perform well in 3 years. Or it just helps build the catalog. So it takes a lot of pressure off releasing if you just let instead of being like, hey, I'm going to put all my money into this song, this is going to do it. No. So what I do is I put a small budget into each song. When it does a certain threshold, and I can see that it's doing better than usual, I'll put more money into it from the reserve. And then if it doesn't do well, I'll save the budget for the next song just in case. So it reduces a lot of friction, I believe, in that belief system of letting the people decide instead of us. Like all you need to do is just be like, I'm proud of this one. This is like, I've gotten better with this one. As long as you feel proud of it, like that's okay. Like who cares if how many streams it has? At least it'll be out in 100 years. Your great great grandchildren can listen to it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You said you put $150 is like your starting budget. Why 150?
Yeah, because at 150, you can usually find um what's doing well. So for example, for every it was just an average of people I was coaching and myself. And it's like doable for anybody, I believe. And because before I was like, okay, I'm gonna put $1,000 into each song. But like when on some of those songs they didn't do well at all. So it's just like I'm burning money. And so I I just started looking at the data and realized that the 150 you can really see the trend of what's going to happen. So for my latest song I just released 3 weeks ago called Headspin, um I tested at 150. I could see that the cost per conversions was going way down. And so I was like, okay, that's all that I care about. It started at $1, which is awful, and went all the way down to 30 cents after 150. Well, not, I was like, okay, I'm going to put more money. I'm going to keep putting more money into it. And now it's at 17 cents, which if people don't know, like in the US, I don't, you have to do your own conversion, but I'm talking about the US dollar is that if you get under 20 cents, it's going to get in the algorithm on Spotify because it's going to print you money. Because for example, with Forgiven, I put $1,000 in and within a year I made 4,000. That's not going to happen every song. But you're going to, Meta is basically saying, we found people that like this song. And then in your Spotify for artists, you can look, okay, are people adding it to their playlists and hit and save? Well, when I see those high numbers of like, oh, high playlists, high adds to personal playlists, then I can be like, okay, well, people not only like the song, but they're engaging with the song. And then that's what triggers the Spotify algorithm. And the beautiful part is, Forgiven has like over 50,000 streams on YouTube Music, and I didn't even put that with the ad. But what happens is I only include Spotify and Apple, and what happens is people go from the ad to that landing page to the smart link to be like, oh, like I use YouTube, so I'm gonna go search it on YouTube. Well, guess what triggers the YouTube algorithm? Search.
Search.
So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, these type of people are searching this song, listening to the whole thing. We're going to show it to similar people like them. So that's how you can trigger, the algorithms. And Spotify doesn't care if you get someone to just listen to your song. They want people to engage with it, and then they'll show it to a similar audience. So it's a two-part thing that most people don't get. It's like when you do like different types of campaigns, I don't really care how many views you have. I've seen people get 1 million views on a reel, but that song has like 3,000 streams. So like it's two steps to it. You have to think about both. And so yeah, that's
Okay, there's like a lot in there. So basically, like, so what's like the process? So first, you make the song, you mix it, it's done, right? Where everyone that's watching this is trying to promote their music. So I'm just gonna
yep.
assume everyone has good music at this point. How do you promote? So you run ads straight to the song, or did you have a landing page, or
Yeah,
what do you
I'll give you
do?
the step by step.
Yeah,
Cuz
so like kind of run through the step by step.
Because a lot of the artists, like I especially Coach, have never released a song, so
Yeah,
I found out a full system, and I'll just tell you the full system step by step, and you can stop me at any time if you have questions
perfect.
about it.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do is branding. I do like brand therapy, because the high numbers, so like when you know your brand, when you know your why you're making music, well, I'm making music because it helps me through good and bad times. It helps me stay in the now. um and that's the way I personally like expressing my emotions. So when you know that, um and I can get deeper into an artist, know what makes them tick, what are the things that could prevent them from making music. Is it in a deep fear of impending doom syndrome, like I realized I had, thinking like, oh, why keep getting better when I could get cancer again, right? So
Mm,
I have to do brand. I have to know the why and how their brain works, to tailor a whole system towards them. And because for many months and many years, there's going to be down periods where you're going to have family issues. You're going to have times where you don't want to make music. So as long as we know why you make it, what could prevent you from making music and doing this, and to make sure that you're not just making music to like try to make a living, like that's a
mm,
terrible goal
yeah.
to have. It really is. It seems like that because every time we go on social media, they're living this lavish lifestyle, but trust me, it's not like that. So I do brand therapy. I build the foundation with the brand.
Mm,
um and then we go into making the music sound really good, because mixing, I believe, is the most challenging part for all of us, because when we're mixing our own music, like I can mix anybody's track. Love it. That's what I do all the time. I mix people's records. Really easy for me.
mm,
Now, when it comes to mixing my own, imposter syndrome is in there, and you never know
yeah.
when it's complete. So like I have a system where you always just bounce to stems and bring it into a mix template. I have my own personal mix template. Um, but it just helps you stop producing and be like, okay, this is, we're out of the production phase, turn on your mixing brain. And then reference tracking is the most important. So like if you don't reference track, you're not bouncing the stems, I promise you probably have a much harder time with finishing music. So I help people develop their own mixing template, and we mix a few songs, make sure that keep updating the template so that way it works for multiple songs. And so that usually solves, okay, we got a foundation, we have high quality music. And second off, I never accept anybody into my program to work with me if they don't have good music. And I know good music is subjective, but you can clearly tell when someone's put their hours in and not. So if they've never produced, usually they just, do production lessons with me for a year before we even get to this, like thinking about
Wow.
releasing or anything. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, but like sometimes I take DJs to producers as well, right? So they never produced, and so that's you have to put in the hours. There's no way around it because you're learning
Yeah.
a new language.
Yeah.
So we have a good foundation. Let's say we know why we're making music. We know what could stop us. We know what we like, what we know what we don't like. And then we got the high quality music. And then so next we get into making content. So I usually have people make multiple different types of content because some people don't like to be on camera, and that's fine. We'll use B-roll content that matches the vibe of the song. If they do, well, you just think about, like, is this a deeper, dark song? All right, we want to put it in the same world. Maybe you shoot it at night, which is an iPhone. Like, it doesn't really matter. And everybody has a hard time in the beginning shooting content, but once they get in the role, it becomes a lot easier. And then I have them shoot multiple pieces of different, just simple videos. Usually the easiest way to do that is if they're a vocalist, you just record you performing the whole song, overdub it with the audio, right? You're just muting the iPhone video audio and putting the actual mastered song over it.
Yeah.
And then we'll put the lyrics on it, auto lyrics. And then we'll chop that up into multiple videos, like let's say 6 videos. You got the verse 1, you got the chorus, the bridge, whatever. And then we'll put those in. I'll help set up their whole ad account. And then we'll upload those and do ads. I use Tonedin for smart links. So when the song does come out, all you do is copy and paste the Spotify song link to Tonedin, and it will make it a smart link. And the reason why we do this is because when you're running ads, it needs to tell Meta that what a conversion is. It needs to say, this person clicked over to Spotify, check, that's a conversion. Boom, we want to find more people like them. It just makes it easier to get that conversion because it's already baked into Meta, meaning that if you just did your own website, you'd have to create a whole custom conversion for Meta. It requires a lot of work, where if you use something like Tonedin or Hyped It, it does it instantly. It does the tracking for you. And then we'll upload those videos, and then we'll do a broad targeting. I always like to start broad, meaning let Meta do all the targeting for you and find your audience. And then and I'll have people, we'll drop like a song every 2 weeks at this point, just in the beginning, to have a lot of to really figure out what they're struggling with, what they like, what they don't, what's going
So
good,
you have
what's going bad.
so you have like a catalog of songs going. It's not like first song and then release. You kind of how many songs should they have ready to go before they even consider,
Yeah. Yeah, everybody that's done the one, like they finish a song and release a song, has gone, been very inconsistent. The ones that have like a catalog, 5 or more ahead of schedule, we're good. Like they will stay at a consistent schedule. So that's what I found. And it makes sense, and to do that, to like, okay, well, maybe, if you have like 2 songs, you're not even ready for releasing yet.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time where people make their a first good song and they want to just drop it and then they
Yeah.
go months without releasing again.
Yeah.
Um, and so right here is like, if you think about it, if we're going to invest money into marketing your music, well, you will go like this if you release consistently.
Yeah.
And don't you want to just keep building upon the last hype and keep it going and give
Mm.
people new, more tracks? Um, because you've already bought those other fans basically. So let's say you get 100 fans out of your first campaign, like let's say real fans. You want to keep them by releasing consistently because you already paid
Yeah.
for them. But if you wait 6 months, they're gonna forget who you are, and you're gonna have to repay to get that.
Yeah.
Technically.
Because they're more likely if to listen to your other songs, right? Because they're like they found you through this song "Forgiven," right? And then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, okay, let's see what else there is," and they check out your other songs, and they also push your streams. Then,
Yes, it blew. Yeah, Forgiven actually blew up my other song that did really bad with ads called "Do You Do This Often."
mm,
Like with for the first few months with ads, that song did a total flop, and that's where I was in the mindset of I'm gonna put $1,000 at each song. That one totally flopped, and but Forgiven's the thing that like that going getting big got that song big, and it's at like
yeah,
500,000 streams total across all platforms. But
cool.
yeah, um,
So
so
how
yeah,
regularly should you release then? Like, what's
I would say once a month.
once a month?
Yeah, yep. But in the beginning stages of someone's like career, like where they're like, okay, you have good music. Like I focus on like mastering like multiple songs and then mixing and mastering and then releasing two a month just in the beginning, just
Mm-hmm.
to really get it habitual for them. That way, like, because my goal with coaching is not to make them dependent on me; it's to make them truly independent.
Yeah.
Um, and so what I do is I just, really figure out what they're struggling with and then figure out a custom system for that. Because most of the time it's content and marketing and being
Yeah.
in their own head. So it's like developing things for that to like, okay, quantity in the beginning, and then you can slow down where it's like one a month, but you're thinking of like full campaigns. Um, and you have a little bit more money maybe to put into these songs and you can um focus on other things as well.
Okay, so that makes sense. So you basically have your brand therapy that you start with, right? Then you move on to like mixering, mixing and mastering. That you make sure that the song that you are putting out is top notch, good quality that goes out, right? And
Yep.
then you do videos for social media or your ads or whatnot. And that's when you then start running the ad. So you want to make sure you have like 5 songs ready to go before you start promoting. And then you release twice a month in the beginning for how long? 6 months, 12 months,
Yeah, well, no, like 3 months, but
3
I
months.
only do that for someone that hasn't the 2 songs a month I only do when they have never dropped a song, just to build that
Okay.
initial
Yeah.
catalog and like experiment a lot. If they're already an established artist and they just want to grow, like one a month is perfect, but
Mhm.
yeah, in the beginning I believe going from 0 to 1 is a lot harder than going to 1 to 100. So like
Yeah.
I always have new artists release more in the beginning.
Mhm. Well, makes sense. Okay, so then you start running these ads. How do you know which one, is you kind of talked about this a little bit, but how do you know when to drop it? Be like, don't invest any more money, or be like, okay, this is doing good. People are sharing it, saving it to a playlist, whatnot, and invest more money into that
Yeah,
song.
so there two steps to that. The first step is just looking at a downward trend on the cost per conversion. So like usually like when you first start an ad, it starts high cuz it doesn't know where to go. You're targeting
Yeah.
like 45 countries and you're doing broad targeting or doing genre specific targeting like I do house music and Spotify because house music. So, and I've tested 12 other genre targeting, and house music for me is what I found to be the best. So I can do that. And it works for me. But so in the beginning, I'm just checking it every day and making sure it's going down. Because the more money you spend, it should go down if it's a good one. So that's all. There's a chart you can check on your ad. You just hit the chart button, and I just look at, is it daily going down? And once it gets to, under
What do
30
you mean
cents.
goes down? Sorry, what do you
Yeah.
mean goes down? The cost per conversion goes down, or
Yeah.
the stream? Okay.
Yeah. So the cost per conversion, it's like, hey, to get someone to click on the Spotify, to go to hit the listen now on the ad, to then go to Spotify, to click Spotify, how much does that cost to get someone?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
gotcha.
so like I want that to go down, because then I can, that means that I'm finding an audience for this track.
Yeah.
And so the second part of that is looking at Spotify for artist data and seeing how many, is it getting good save rate? Is it getting good listen to stream rate? Meaning, like, how many times are people listening to the track? Like, you want it usually above 2 or more. So that means every listener, they're listening twice at least to the song. And all that shows Spotify is like, oh, people are coming from a different platform to our platform, and they're engaging with it. They like it. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to put it in our Spotify algorithm, and we're going to show it to more people like them, because we know they'll probably like it.
Okay.
And so that's a 2-part system for that.
Okay, so you said the budget that you start with is usually $150, right? And
Yeah.
then once you see, okay, this is getting traction, if it's not getting traction at this point, do you just stop the ads and that's it? Or do you do something else?
Yeah, so sometimes I'll have artists or myself make an additional video and duplicate that and test a different video. But sometimes, like, often not, like, I'll just stop that and worry about my next release. Because if I see an upward trend, where meaning it's costing a lot to get someone to come to Spotify,
Yeah.
then I can know that, like, okay, maybe this is not the one at this point in time.
So maybe later.
Maybe in a year or 6 months, I could try another ad for this. Like, that's where it takes off a lot of pressure and makes it fun for me personally. I mean, like, okay, that inspires me. I'm gonna release my next song. Hopefully, it does better. Because yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's kind of like on the back burner then. Be like, maybe not the right timing. We'll see. Okay, and so let's say it performs well.
Yep.
How much more money should you invest? So you now invested 150. How do you invest another 150 or just 50, or do you go up like what's from
I'll take
there?
it day
What do
by
I
day.
do?
I'll take it day by
Okay.
day. So you basically, like, I would suggest spending $5 a day on the ad at least. And so you can just keep investing that, or you can double it, and you could be like, I'm gonna spend $10 a day on this, and see that chart. Does it go up, or does it stay at the same, which is good, or does it go down, which is even better?
Yeah.
So if it stays the same, maybe I'll put another 150 into it. If it goes down, I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna just keep putting money into this, because it's only usually $5 a day. So it's you just want to think of, and this is why I'm so, like, against, like, going with labels and thinking of, like, I want artists to think of themselves as a label. Yes, it is more work, but,
Yeah.
like, you can only make, like, music is like real estate. You have to invest money, and you have to invest money you're willing to lose. So I wouldn't
Ooh.
suggest someone like thinking about, oh, I should put this money into my song, but I don't know if I can pay my rent. Like, no, like, I don't want you to think like that. Only invest
Yeah.
what you can lose, because
Yeah.
you might not make that money back, and even if you do, it's going to take a year to get back, or months to get back.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Since we're kind of in this topic, what would you say? Because I see this with artists a lot. What's the difference between a music or a musician mindset and then a business mindset? Because
Yeah.
in my opinion, they're very different, and I don't think artists are really aware of that. So I think I really resonate when you said think of yourself as a label. I just gotta
Yeah.
plug in my phone because it's like dying, but
No problem.
yeah. What do you
So
say?
yeah, so I believe that's the greatest balance, and it's the hardest one to balance, because most of us creatives are entrepreneurs that haven't realized it yet,
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
releasing music. And so what happens is when you get into the creative mindset, which I say is that like our vulnerable mindset, it's we're most vulnerable, and this is why imposter
Mm,
syndrome is awful, because it only takes one person to make you second guess everything that you've done. So like when you're in that state, I've realized I've gotten in that state for months at a time, and I've put my business on the back burner because the last thing I want to do is worry about business. So it's a very split-minded thing. You could be into business and marketing um, for a week at a time, a month at a time, a year at a time, and you just have to. That's why I believe developing systems for everything business-wise,
yeah.
because there's going to be months and weeks and days where the last thing you want to do is think about do business stuff. Um, so it, I think in the beginning of my career, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get signed to a label, and it's because that's actually an easier path, even though it's not, because you're basically saying like, I want someone, a whole company that's going to do all the business side for me, where I can just make music, which is
Yeah.
fine. But I believe once I'm told what to do and what to do with my creativity, then that literally destroys the reason why I make music.
Yeah.
It's like I love
Yeah.
making music. It's my greatest passion in life. So I want to protect that with everything. The only way I can protect that is by being independent and thinking of myself as a label and setting up systems in the business that will allow my creative brain to go off and be free. And so that's why I developed a whole YouTube channel, a whole business to support that. Um, and yeah, it's taken me longer than maybe if I would have just kept sending all my demos to labels, and I could, be playing that. But I know that would be the thing. If you are an entrepreneur, if you hate being told what to do, then that is going to destroy you. And you've seen it time and time again with so many artists that go into deep into drug addiction and to all this. It's because they have no other way to deal with that. They don't even maybe realize that's the issue. It's because you're getting told, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release this song. Now change this to be more radio friendly." It's like
Yeah.
that doesn't. It just never resonated with me. So I just believe in setting up systems for everything on the business side. That way, to remove bottlenecks and free up your creative energy. So when you feel like being creative, you can be creative and not worry about anything, because everything's set in place, and there's already a calendar, there's everything already set up. You're ahead of schedule, you don't have to worry. And that's why I tell people get multiple songs ahead of release schedule, so that way when you go in 3 months of where you haven't made a song you like, you're not stressing.
Mm, mm. I love Atomic Habits by James Clear. Do you know the
Me
book?
too. Yes,
Yeah,
1% better every day, baby. Woo.
exactly. Woo, yeah. There's just one quote that changed how I look at everything. And he just says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that's when I realized I'm like, oh, everything's a system. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea. And now also I just have a system for everything because it's
Yep.
just easy. It just makes your life so much easier. You're like, okay, cool. I have a system. Let's do da, 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 da. Like this entire podcast is a system. Like I have
Yep.
workflows for this. I know exactly where I need to set up. I have my lights here. All I do is boom camera. I'm ready to go. Like I don't have to think about it anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what a system
Exactly.
does. It doesn't need to be motivated or feel like it today. Like it just
Yeah, the
ones.
number one, exactly, that book changed my life too. The number one thing I see when I do help develop systems for people is things become so easy that now they think something's wrong.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
that's true.
they see their growth. Their growth is literally this, but they just see and everything's easier and they really think something's wrong and that
Yeah.
they're doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, everything's right.
This is what it should
Everything's right.
be.
This is what it should be. Um, and yeah, like, so it's a funny thing.
That's what a system is there for. It should free up your time. It should make it, feel easier. It's true. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's
there's
just
something wrong with it.
falling in love with the process of things. I can tell really quickly, like, some people just don't love the process of making music, and it exposes that when we
Yeah.
develop systems. And so if you don't like, I just enjoy the process of making music and getting it out there and testing it. If I play it live, like, I truly love the process. Like, when I hit 1 million streams of my song this year, like, it didn't feel like anything, and I knew it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Did I promote it like it made me feel something? Yes, because then that makes people care more, because the world only cares when the world cares. So you have to do those like hype things where it's like, oh my God, I just hit 1 million streams of my song. But like, to me, it changed nothing about what I'm doing or how I'm going about it. It's just like, it feels a little good because it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to just keep going. It gives me a little more motivation, but the motivation is just, I love the process of it. And I love the process of developing systems for people and myself. It's just the process of making the system is more fun than what the system does for me.
Yeah.
So
I can nerd out about like back end system building. It's I now like it actually. I enjoy that.
it's fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I help other people do it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I can nerd out about that entirely, but I think it's kind of important what you said is that we set these goals sometimes, right? And we think that once we reach that goal, like then I've made it, right? Or if I could just get 1 million streams, or if I can just get signed, or if I can make 4K a month, or if I can make 5 or 10K a month with my music, then I finally made it, or then I'll be successful as a musician. And James Clear talks about this as well, as it's about changing yourself first, like becoming the person that you know then rather than reaching a goal, because you won't feel differently once you reach it. Like,
Yep.
what's your take on that? Like, should we set goals then? Should we not? Should we, like, what is it like? I think you have a really unique perspective on it, like coming from, literally staring death in the face. Like, what's important then? Like, what should we focus on?
Yeah. I think that it's always the foundation. It's always setting the values and principles you want to live by. So, like, for example, um, with my music, I want to just remain independent. So, like, I believe, because that's the thing that makes me like making music. So you have to figure out why you're making music and just understand, what do you love about this life. I decided, like, when I went through all that bad stuff, and with addiction and all that stuff, like, to me now, like, most importantly is just be living an honest, truthful life. So boom, that's my foundation. And so then I set, like, goals. The easiest and only goal one should have is releasing consistently and setting up the calendar of, like, I'm gonna release once a month. All right, because if I do that, and then you work backwards, what does that take? Everything that takes, you write it down, and you be like, okay, I like doing this, I don't like doing this. What causes bottlenecks? Develop system for each thing, whether it's cover art. Cover art is easier now than ever. Like, use ChatGPT, use all these AI things, whatever you want. If you
Yeah.
like to draw it, Like, you don't have to pay $300 for an artist to make your stuff. Like, that's ridiculous. Use that to grow your music. So you develop, and then you just say, I'm going to release a song every month, and I'm going to start on this day. So let's say January 1st, and then I'm going to release on the 1st of every month, and then that's it. So that's the only goal I would set. Now, the whole numbers thing, it's like all you need to see is green. If you look on your Spotify when you're releasing, like, okay, but December 31st, you had zeros because you never released a song. But January, you have 50 streams. You went from 0 to 50. That's improvement. And you have to learn how to get addicted and feel happiness from that upward curve. Instead of being like, okay, I have a goal, I'm going to get 1 million streams this year. Like, that's just surface level stuff. And because if you don't get that, you're gonna be less inspired to release consistently, and that's the only thing that's gonna get you to any number. So I like setting the goals, just release every month once you have some built up.
I think it's more about creating the habit. That's what I do. I call them 1%ers. So I have like
Yeah.
5 1%ers that if I know, like, if I reach out once a day to someone that I want to have on the podcast, eventually I will have enough podcast episodes, right? Like,
Yeah,
if I just make that a habit, that's just one person a day. But eventually it doesn't matter how many, who says yes or no, whatever. If I do it that many times, it will be impossible to not have this podcast. Like,
exactly.
and that's kind of what I look at. It's just like the habit of doing it rather than if I get 50 episodes. Like, in the beginning, I'm like, if I can get like 10 interviews, that'd be cool. And then I did 20, and then I did 40, and then I get 50. And now I've like over 60 interviews I've done, right? And so it's just the habit of doing it rather than I want to do X amount of interviews or I want to get so many streams on there or whatnot. Like, I've just realized that it's more the habit, which is what James Clear talks about, rather than the goal itself. Because once you reach it, then you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, what's next? And then that just seems so unfulfilling to me. In that sense, it's like, okay, I hit 100,000 streams. Now I want to hit 300,000. It's just like you'll never be happy in that.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for failure. And until, like, I do the same method you do, it's like, I feel like I've gotten better at production today. That feels more better than any amount of streams could ever get me. And so, like, my thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize it's like, there is people like me that is producing every day and making music every day. And so, like, that's what if you love that, you would be doing that, at least multiple times a week, when you can. And that's more enjoyable than any part. Like, I'm not, I do see sometimes where people come into this game and they want to buy themselves in and they'll get ghost produced, whatever it is. And it's just like, people can feel that when they're performing, like a real artist versus someone that's just posing and just trying to live this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think there's problems with either or because I could care less, but I do see where it's like people can really feel your genuineness in this when you're creating from truth. And my thing is, like, I just set a goal to release consistently and work backwards from there and give myself as much free time as possible to just create and not worry about releasing and marketing and any of that, just to sit there and create. Because if we look at ourselves like we're the only person in this world, there's nobody else, what do we have left? What would we do? I would probably just create. Like, simple. So if you get down to that, what would you really do? And I realize, like, a lot of artists are artists because they want to be successful, but they're just searching for someone to properly love them. That's really what it comes down to, is why a lot of people make music. They they don't have the love that they desire, and so they're trying to get that through the biggest means possible, which is what we see. Like, artists live this amazing lifestyle where thousands of people seem like they love them, so that's where it plays on that insecurity. But really, you can't get proper love until you love yourself. So it's like, it's there's no way that you love yourself if you're poisoning yourself all the time, right? And if you're not proud doing the stuff you need to be doing, it's like, if you really want to be a professional music artist, you have to start thinking like you're one. And if you are one, you can decide today, I'm a professional music artist. Okay, if so, what would a professional music artist do today? They would make music today. So even if you don't make music, you can start with that concept and just like spend 5 minutes learning on what to do today. And then tomorrow, learn a little bit more. And that's what I've been doing for 10 years.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right? I interviewed Aurélie. I don't know if you know her. She's from Music PLV, I think, on YouTube. I interviewed her, and her episode is dropping on Friday. And she started with like zero production skills, zero, like she didn't learn it at school, or like self-taught. And now she's also making like crazy numbers in her business, and now helping other musicians as well. But she also started, like, everyone started with nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where
I'm
everyone started.
helping people start in their 50s. It doesn't matter. I
Cool.
actually love helping an older demographic, because they usually have some success in their own like careers and their job that has nothing to do with music, but they actually end up doing more work than the broke young artists. Like, so there's just life experiences you have to go through, and like hardships you have to go through to get to this mindset of like, damn, like I really want to do this, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. Because you'll make time, and it's usually the people that, you know, have nothing going on, that don't have a good job, that are harder to train, because it's like, if you can build success in your like elsewhere, you can build it in music too, with that same mindset of just putting the hours in every day, no matter what. Like, I have you know, this one artist I work with named Steve. He has a full-time family. He works 14 hours a day or more with his own business, and he's still releasing every 2 weeks, dropping ads, making reels and TikToks. And I'm like, dude, you work more than anybody I know. and he's doing it, and he's making it happen. So like, I love when people are like that, because I resonate with that. It's like, no matter if I was going through cancer, I was still making music.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a huge differentiating factor in like who really wants this and who doesn't.
That's true. How would you say, like, mindset, what would you say are like the top 3 mindset musicians should have that will move them towards their music career that they're hoping for?
Yeah, I believe it's just consistency every day, like putting in the work every day. It just like, produce or make music every day, at least make time for it. And if it's for your business, you'd put in time in for your business every single day, no matter what is happening. So it's the 1% better every day method. 100%. It's like, at least just get a little bit better every day. Learn, just even watch a YouTube tutorial on something. You don't even have to get in your DAW. Just like watch something, learn from someone, and try to apply it. And another one is, I've always had, is that like, I had all the excuses to go a different route. I was made fun of thinking like that I could like make a living from music. And even though I do it from like, make a living from my presets and samples and coaching, it's like, no, I still categorize it, I'm making a living from music, because
Yeah,
it's from my
100%.
skills in music.
Yeah.
So like, I was teaching people and mixing when I didn't even know how to do that. So like, I just did it, and something about me like just kept it going. So that like you kind of need this belief in yourself, even because for YouTube, I did YouTube for 4 years before I ever made $1. Um,
That's
and
a
so
long
like,
time. Yeah.
yeah, and but I just kept going. So it's that like kind of just daily work, and it's not a pretty thing, but since I love it and I loved ended up doing YouTube, like those things just stuck. And then now I just focus on those two things, like, oh, make videos and make music. And it sounds crazy that I love making YouTube videos when I don't like making social media videos, but
It's very
um
different, I think.
it's
Like,
different.
I'm also gravitating towards YouTube. Like, I've been uploading to YouTube forever as well, but social media, I don't know, I just can't wrap my head around it. It's very different. Long form is different than this like short. Maybe I'm just not the type for that. I don't like these like short-lived kind of things.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
some
because
people
like
love it.
it's like the idea of something going viral, it doesn't mean anything. Like where I've seen it too many times where it doesn't result into anything. But if you get 1 million views on a YouTube video, I promise you, and if you have an offer, like you're making a
Mm,
lot of
yeah.
money,
Yeah.
life-changing money. Um and not from like YouTube AdSense itself, like you won't make much from that, but you're going to make a lot from that. And so I just realized that like if people started thinking, okay, well, um, I think there's two parts. It's like, okay, what realistic way can I make a living to support what I love to do?
Mhm.
And with the goal of getting what I love to do, make enough money that I can only have to do that comfortably, and I can do it all by myself independently, like that's my
Yeah.
goal. So like my goal, I make 600 a month from just streams. Not a lot, but last year I was making like 150 a month from
Mm.
streams.
Wow,
And
that's
so
a
like,
jump. Mm.
yeah, I believe there is a compounding effect where it's like, okay, I only need a few more other forgivens to make 4,000 a month. Um and so and it will be exponential, right? Because then the catalog will be bigger, so you'll get more streams per listener. So you'll
Yeah.
actually, it's not like I need 6 forgivens to make 4,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's like you only need a few, and it's gonna make you money for the rest of your life once it's in the algorithm.
Mm. It's evergreen content, which is the best content you can make. This is also a reason why I like YouTube over Instagram, because Instagram is like so short-lived. But this YouTube video, somebody can look this up in 4 years and find it and get value
Yep.
out of it, and and I can still get views, clients, whatnot from this one video I'm making now. Like it's
Yep.
evergreen, which is great.
Yep. Exactly. I love evergreen, and that's 100% why I love music and why I love YouTube. And why I love ads, because I just skip the whole is this a good piece of content or not based on
Yeah.
how many views it gets. No, it's like I'm gonna learn real quick if it's a good ad
Yeah.
and it's gonna get me streams and how much I should invest in this song. So that's why I love those three things: ads, YouTube, and music, because it is a long term play. And those YouTube videos are gonna be on there well after gone. So I think that's really cool.
Mm. And plus, it's the same principle, right? It's like if one YouTube video takes off, like it's the other ones. Someone's gonna go and watch your other videos as well, and they're gonna, get more views as well. Like it
Yep.
just for me makes more sense in my head. I'm just more of a YouTube fan.
Yeah. And my thing is, for years, all I did was tutorials. So I did in the DAW, mostly Logic Pro and FL Studio, but I was doing vocal mixing tutorials because during the pandemic, I realized there was, people couldn't go to studios, and
Mm,
then artists needed to learn how to record and sound professional.
yeah.
And I knew they didn't want to be engineers. So that's why I automated that process. And once I went into this video of where I came up with my whole new system. I was like, I don't like making tutorials because no matter if I do this in Logic Pro, people are asking it for an FL. And no matter if they copy
Mhm.
exactly what I'm doing, it doesn't necessarily, they could have a different mic, a different voice. They'll never be 100% satisfied. But so I was like, okay, my thing I love doing is just like talking about what I learn. And so I just want to be able to talk to the camera and talk about lessons and tips and steps of things. And so I
Yeah.
came up with a new format. And that's why when I released 200 songs. Here's what I learned. And then I said it, and here are 40 lessons I learned from dropping the many songs. Like, I was so scared to drop that because I was like, nobody's going to sit there and watch me just talk because my imposter syndrome, it's like people only want to see tutorials. That's what got big. That's what made my business. And so once I did that, it just started taking off. I was like, okay, it worked.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
it got me. That's how, how I found
That's really
you.
cool.
I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have found you through a tutorial because that's not, what I
Right.
do.
And
But
me either. It's like
yeah,
I watch production tutorials, but it's like mainly I love watching podcasts and listening to people's life story and learning from them. And so that's how I figured out too. It's like I'm not watching vocal mixing tutorials right now.
yeah,
I got that on
yeah,
lock.
yeah,
I want to make
yeah.
content for like someone like me that will attract others' mindsets like me. And so like even today after this podcast I'm shooting, if I were to restart my music career in 2026, I'd do this. And I'm going to give 20 steps to, complete, just exactly what to do, what I would do.
Mm, cool, cool, cool. Yes. For my last question, what does it believe about marketing or like releasing music that you used to have that you now completely disagree with?
Yeah, it's a good question. Okay, because I spent thousands and thousands of dollars in this. If I just get a marketing company to help me out or sign to a label, that my life will change. And so in most cases, most marketing companies or people that you even music marketers on YouTube, most of them don't even release music. So I've learned to anybody that's teaching marketing, I make sure, okay, what's their Spotify? Because I promise you, if they're not releasing music themselves, they don't truly get it. And they're not going to get the issues you're going to have. They're going to say, okay, here, $1,000 and we'll market your next song. I've done
Yeah.
that. And with everybody you're thinking of, I've worked with. And what they do is like that it goes against my principle of like we don't choose the hit, the audience does. They're, hey, I really believe in this song, here's $1,000, the ads don't go well, shoot, that like really sucks. I've done that so
Mm,
many times. I've spent 5,000 on one campaign, I've spent 1,000 on campaigns, 2,000. And the problem is I and they make you dependent on them, right? Because
mm,
then for the next
yeah.
song you'll have to work with them again. So like I just believe in, I help artists learn how to do ads and really understand them because I mastered them for presets, like to, like I made a lot of money from YouTube ads and from Facebook ads on my own products and services. And so like I I can take that skill and run with it. So like I like to, you don't think you can just pay a marketer and they're going to just help you with your career. You should learn this and think of yourself like your own label, and
Yeah.
you learn how to do ads and you get accustomed to it. So that way you can do it yourself. So like never depend on anybody to do them. Definitely one-on-one coaching to get help with it, like learning how to do ads and
Yeah.
how to do it for your music and develop the system. But I would never pay a marketing company to like just try to blow up my song or do that, to depend on them for that.
That's good advice. Yeah. Jordan, is there anything I forgot to ask you towards the process of, releasing music? I think we covered it all, but is there anything covered it all? Yeah. Is that a
No,
sentence?
no,
Is there
just
anything I forgot?
no, just protect your passion at all costs and set up systems outside of that to protect it. and try a bunch of different things. Like I tried the club DJing, I realized I just don't like it. Um, be- and so you'll try a bunch of things, figure out what you do and don't like, and you don't have to do what you don't like. You don't
Yeah.
have to do any of that. You can find another way. And if you have been releasing a long time and like been struggling, like you just need to keep going because it could be the next one. It could be the next one. As long as you know you're getting better and not, half doing things, then that's all that really matters. Fall in love with getting better and feeling proud of yourself every day. And that's what builds your confidence. And so when I see someone come to me and they have a lack of confidence about their marketing and stuff, it's usually that they haven't been making music consistently. That's literally all it comes down to. They don't feel proud of themselves, so they don't feel confident, and it shows on camera. So it's like just keep making music every day and protect it at all costs and build systems around that.
Amen. That's a good way. That's a good way to end the podcast. That's really good advice. Jordan, thank you so much for like sharing your knowledge openly and, sharing your legacy and your story. I think this will be like really inspiring for musicians out there um who are struggling to get their music out there, to get the streams up and stuff like that. And I just really want to appreciate you and for what you've overcome. So thank you so much. Um,
Thank you for having
where,
me. This is awesome.
yeah, of course. Where can people check you out? Where can they find you? Where should they go?
Yeah, so you can hit me up on Instagram at Baywood Music. And if you want to check out like more music career advice and music marketing videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, Jordan Baywood, or youtube.com/ at Baywood. Uh, that's the two places I like to be. If you want to hit me up, ask me any questions, Instagram's the easiest way. And if you want to level up and learn some more things from my point of view that have helped other artists and myself, I always put new videos out on YouTube when I learn something new. And I feel like I'm really excited to share it with other people. And my music, you can check
Yeah.
me out on any platform, Baywood, if you like
I was like, the most
music.
important thing is missing.
Yeah.
You're pretty much just Baywood everywhere. If you put it into
Yeah,
YouTube,
if you just put in Baywood
Instagram,
everywhere.
that's
Yep.
how I found you. Plus I'll link everything up in the show notes as well. So if you don't know where to find stuff, it's going to be linked up down below as well. So everyone can easily find your stuff. I would highly recommend the YouTube channel. It's really, really good. You have some awesome advice on there. That's how I found you. And obviously your music as well. Like Forgiven, it's a vibe. Gotta
Thank
say.
you.
It's really hard not to like the song. I understand why it did so well. So yeah, thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Musician Secrets podcast. If you got value from this conversation, leave your biggest aha moment or your transition in the comments down below. Not only does this help me know what's landing for you, it also tells the algorithm that this episode was genuinely helpful. So you can reach even more musicians who need the same breakthrough that you just had. Thank you again and see you the next time. Mahalo.